Think you got everybody now.
There's
No,
Joanne.
There we go. We got one more.
No, there's Joanne.
Steve's not gonna be able to make it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Joanne just chimed in. Yeah. So Kyle, if you could.
And Peter, just for start, I told Kyle I have a hard stop at 4:45, so
Okay. So
I will be off then.
right. We'll go fast. Kyle, if you could read the notice, that'd be great.
Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 23rd, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Yarmouth Community and Economic Development Committee meeting is being conducted by remote participation. All votes during this meeting will need to be conducted by roll call. No in-person attendance will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access and participate in the proceedings as provided for in the order. Public participation will be permitted by allowing members of the public to join this meeting via Zoom or via the telephone. Mr. Chairman, if you can just take a roll call quote to enter into quorum.
Right. Jack, are you here?
I'm here.
Ryan, are you here?
I'm here.
Ken, are you here?
I'm here.
Joanne, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Mary,
Here.
I'm here, but I know that you need to recuse yourself since the discussion is about you. And I also see Jen here, but she's not a member. We also have members of the audience, which would be Miss Green. So I think we can get started. I am looking for my agenda. I got like 8,000 things on my screen. Let's see if I can get to the agenda. Here we go. Oh, there you go. Kyle was kind enough to put the agenda up for me because he's much better than I am. It's working in that hill in Boston has worked out well for him. First item on the agenda is the Yarmouth Chamber of Commerce marketing contract discussion and possible vote.
Yeah, but Mr. Chairman, before we go into that, it probably makes sense for me to give you a rundown on the budget.
Okay.
It's gonna be applicable to this discussion. So here's your updated budget. It looks a little bit different than what I've shown you in past months. The difference being that we are uncertain whether or not the short-term rental revenue is going to be included in your formula for this next year or not. We're inquiring with the finance department to get clarity on that, but that's why you kind of have two different scenarios presented here. One is the allocation if short-term rentals are included in your formula, and then that would give you this available funding starting next fiscal year once the allocation, this is assuming that the allocation is approved at town meeting, of course. So that would leave you with this availability. But the kind of grimmer picture is if short-term rentals are excluded from the formula, then you'd be getting a significantly reduced allocation, and it would give you reduced available numbers. To kind of give you a background on how that all checks out, I put in an email. I sent you guys an email to kind of show my math on that. So this is what all breaks down. It's a significant difference whether or not short-term rentals are included for the funding you guys may be able to receive for the next fiscal year. So that's something to keep in mind, certainly.
Kyle, what is the holdup around that? I mean, I don't remember the enabling legislation differing only to hotel room occupancy tax. I thought it just included all room occupancy tax.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a finance department kind of question, Karen. I don't know if you have anything to add on this.
Yeah, Ryan, I know there's a whole lot of conversation and the Board of Selectmen haven't, you're correct, the legislation hasn't changed. But I think there's some conversation about dedicating the short-term rental tax towards wastewater is the conversation.
I agree, but they would have to actually do that in the legislation, right? Because the legislation dedicates the money.
Well, you're correct there. I don't know what other strategy might be adopted, but it's just a subject of conversation. So we thought it prudent to give you both sets of numbers.
And then, in terms of the available funds as of today, that's in orange. In terms of your unallocated funding available is a little over 184,000. Public improvement is a little over 104,000 available. So obviously we're hoping to get an allocation. Well, we're definitely hoping to get an allocation come town meeting. It's just a question of how large that allocation will be. And again, we wanted to kind of give you this information as you're talking about the marketing contract, because it is a pretty big number in the scheme of your budget. So it requires some kind of future planning, forward thinking. So that's why we wanted to include this information. And again, Karen, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
It just, the second to last column on the right there, it's, consider that your very conservative estimate.
So I have a question. So meals and room occupancy from hotels came in like what it was in the year prior? Because
Yeah, so here's the numbers. So we started collecting the short-term rental tax. Let's do that one first in FY20, but the Department of Revenue did not break out those figures for what came from a hotel motel and what came for short-term. So we have those figures starting for July of this year, of this fiscal year. So for FY21 to date, we've collected $1,043,682 on the short-term rental tax. For that same period, the hotel motel was $1,853,306. I could give you last year's actuals through December for room tax, which was a combination of the two, and it is almost right on the mark for a combination of the two. It was 2020 was $2,854,317,000. So if you add together,
Kyle, my question is, what was the appropriation in 2021?
379,270.
Oh, I got you. Okay, all right. And what was the appropriation back in 2020? Where I'd be comparing, hotel and restaurant apples to apples to the 185.
Sure. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, it's gonna take me a bit. I'll hunt down that answer.
That's
for you.
fine. Okay.
Yeah, it was something less than 379, but it was not radically less than 379, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. I believe that's correct.
Okay.
Um,
So we did see an impact. I just wanted to say, like, I was looking at trying to figure out what the impact of the pandemic kind of was on meals and hotels, right? Like to kind of get better gauge of the restaurant and the hotel industry, right? And so we are seeing about almost 45% reduction in those collections then.
wouldn't say that, Ryan.
What?
So I was giving you, I'm happy, I'm gonna send you this sheet, which shows our revenue trends. I can tell you that meals tax is down about 25%, 22%. For FY20 to FY21. It's down from 452 down to 357.
But that's 20 though, Karen, right?
Yeah, if you, 2019 was 433 for that.
You're gonna see a bigger drop in that in FY21.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. FY22 is where you're going to see the drop because the FY22 started July 1st, right?
Yeah, and these may be calendar years that I'm giving you.
Right.
Okay.
And Ryan, the allocation the year before the 379 was 387, 840.
Okay.
So it's actually more. Okay.
Right. I agree with Ryan that the way it was written is we get X dollars over a certain amount. So the finance department is going to try to finagle some of that money. They're going to have an argument from us as best we can. And they have come and talked to us and said, "Can you lend us some money out of your allocation?" And we said we would be glad to, but we would like to know at some point we would get it back. And their response was, "Oh, we really don't do that."
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
we
think
can arrange an update. I don't know that you need those figures for the marketing contract determination. It's certainly a factor.
Right.
Understanding what do you have in the bank.
Right.
But,
Karen, I agree with you. I don't think we need it as far as the discussions for today is, but for going forward, we would,
Mhm.
I think we would need to know sooner than later. And again, you know, everybody whines about their budgets. I'm sure you've heard this once or twice before. And this could be our opportunity to whine about our budget. Because I think we provide an important service. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, like, if they want to go back and change the enabling legislation, let's go back and change the enabling legislation, right? Like, but don't try to create some loophole around the enabling legislation is my thing. Do it by the book. And yeah, so either change it or you come to us and ask for a public improvements money for wastewater, right? Isn't that public improvement? Wouldn't we be able to grant public improvement funds to wastewater in doing it the right way?
yeah, I don't see why not.
Certainly is.
Totally agree with you,
infrastructure.
Ryan.
I mean, or change enabling, either way, but you can't just because you don't like it, change the law.
I completely agree with Ryan's sentiment, Peter.
I agree also, but I mean, it is infrastructure. Obviously, we could use that slice of the pie.
Well, again, I think Ryan said, or Ken said, let's, if it's public improvement, have them ask for it as public improvement. And I think that definitely improves the entire town.
Ryan said it.
So my personal feeling is I would not be negative at that at all. So.
Are we anticipating a lot of less grants this year? Less activities to give money to?
Well, we
Sorry,
had the
Jack.
grant process and we gave out less money than we normally do, right, Kyle? Because we didn't have as many requests.
I mean, you gave out, yeah, I mean, you had less requests, but you gave out basically the same amount.
I think for FY 2022, we're going to see more because I feel like there's going to be a flurry of events once people get to say, July, February, March, April of 2022.
Well, if finance gets their way, Ryan, there won't be any money left. So
Any other questions? Any other questions on the budget? And Kyle and Karen, thank you very much for bringing that issue up because I've been thinking about that in the back of my mind for a while, actually.
Yeah, and we'll work to get clarity on it and,
Yeah.
and relay your concerns.
In terms of the Yarmouth Chamber of Commerce marketing contract, I believe that was already voted, and the question was the dollar amount. Correct? Is that what we're looking at?
that's
Yep.
correct.
Yep.
That's it in a nutshell. So
Kyle is nodding his head, and Karen has said yes.
So you have in your packet
Yeah.
a memo from Kyle and I think. And corresponding budget. We can't show two things at once, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Haven't figured that out yet.
Want me to show the budget?
Yeah, I wish we could show two things at once.
Yeah.
So what we did was take the category of spending, just want to show you everything because there's a few different pots of money at play here. So we have the categories of spending, which are currently included in the chamber contract, marketing contract. We have the FY 2021 budget amount. That's the full amount, and that tallies to $270,000 at the bottom of the page. Spending to date, that's through December. So, and we have kind of funny calendars with this contract because we didn't start till August. So January is actually the 18th month. So it does, that second column does not include January. I think the does not is cut off at the top. So that shows you their spending to date. The next column is the balance. And then we have the proposed budget. So the balance right now is about $44,000. We haven't gotten January spending yet from the chamber. I think that's still unfolding. Their proposed budget is for $300,000. The yellow highlights are provided to you guys just for courtesy. Those highlight out the new things that were not included in any way, shape, or form in the other budget, and they tally about $28,500. The next column is just the change. It shows you brief, quick way of the proposed contract versus the existing contract. And then we put in a proposed change just to see kind of what the relative changes are. So Peter, you're correct. I think that you guys voted to go ahead and extend the contract based on a meeting. I want to say it was back in December. Mary and Jen did a fine job drafting up a kind of a narrative of the proposed services for the new contract. And we have the budget. So you guys have two questions. One, I'd like you to take a vote on whether or not you'd like to carry forward any amount of unspent funds from the FY 2021 contract to make that available for the 21-22 contract. So we had informally told Mary and Jen, use the same amount as a ballpark. That was the 270, but I think that if there's any carryover to be had, they could add on top of that to reach, a maximum of the $300,000. So we need you to vote. I'd like you to vote on whether or not you want to carry forth the balance. And then I'd like you to vote on, because I think that the chamber would need this to enter into any contracts. I want to show that we have funding secured for them. And so you've already budgeted, and this was in Kyle's other budget, $90,000 you've already budgeted. And then I'd suggest that you take 90 out of that 184 that's in the FY 21 unallocated funding and transfer that amount down to marketing and promotion. And then when you set your budget for FY 22, that you commit, because you'll absolutely have at least $90,000, that when that FY 22 allocation comes in on July 1 of 21, that you assign another $90,000 there. Does that make sense? Any questions?
Yeah, so $90,000 out of what we know, and then $90,000 out of the unknown allocation next year.
Correct, and $90,000 that you've already budgeted.
Of what 46 is?
The 46 is on top, Ryan.
That's correct.
46 is on top of the 180. Okay.
That's correct.
So Karen, if we go to town meeting and town meeting says no, which they have the right to do.
No, they
they
don't
don't.
have the right to do that. It's a formula.
Right, and the money's already there.
The money's
The money is already there.
right. Okay, I just didn't want to leave anybody in the lurch here.
And what I've given you is my recommendation. The
Mhm.
committee, if Kyle, could you put your budget back up with the
Yep.
84 on there? If the committee wants to, budget the full amount up front right now,
Yeah,
you can do it. But it does leave you with,
No money.
not a lot of flexibility in
Right.
dealing with future requests. My recommendation is a suggestion. It's a way to do the money. It makes for easy math, but certainly you guys are welcome, and it's your budget, so it's yours to allocate.
I mean, when you say what money we have left, I mean, we still have, do we have a balance of what the public improvements budget is? Of what that's not, is that what's in the fund or, okay,
It's available.
that's available, okay.
Right.
so
But
even
there's
though
no-
it's shown as expense.
Right, but that's not what we have not allocated that already. That's why showing as expense made me think we already allocated that 104.
Yeah, it's not, it's,
It's just sitting there,
It's
Ryan.
the unallocated public improvements balance. we
Correct.
have.
Kyle,
Correct.
could you change the labeling on that to public improvements available then?
sure.
No, not right now. It's just confusing to
Yeah.
call it an expense.
Yeah, that's just what it says it in the, yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And the figures below are the public improvements that you have already allocated. And then there's,
And will all of that be used still? Do we know that, or is there?
The one that might get turned back that we'll find out in a couple months is the Parkers River Bridge lights for 55,000. Also, beautification team for 2020 that didn't happen, so you guys can turn that back, or you could use it for a beautification team this year. But you haven't done anything with that money yet.
Right.
Okay.
Well, hopefully.
I didn't think he turned that back, Kyle. Are you sure?
You think that you did turn it back? Is that what you said?
I do not believe that they turned that back.
Oh, well, they didn't use it.
I
'Cause
thought
they
he
didn't
ended
have
up-
the-
I thought he ended up using it for something else within
did Jeff request just to carry it forward for you?
Yeah, I think the request was just to be able to use it for 2021.
Okay,
And did we grant that already?
No,
no. We were gonna meet with Jeff, Ryan.
correct.
Okay.
Can we just go back to the marketing promotion for 1 second? I'm looking at the budget line there, and I know I should know this, but this table always confuses me.
Joanne, which line item are you talking?
Marketing and promotion, caps, bold.
The
On this page,
184?
Joanne?
On the page that's up,
Yeah,
Okay.
what number? 184, 840?
marketing promotion.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So for the fiscal year 2021, the budget was 211,276. Yes?
So Joanne, we finished out FY '20 with $121,000.
Available.
Some of these columns are kind of additive.
Yeah, I understand.
With the committee's FY '21 allocation, they said, let's put 90 into marketing. So
For the allocation of 90 every 6 months, essentially.
kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Okay.
So then you see the FY '21 budget, that's the sum of those two numbers.
Yep.
The 2021 actual is spending to date out of the contract.
Right.
So the contract amount is different than that 211. Because
Right.
we started the contract in FY '20. So
Yeah.
the 75,706 is what's actually been spent this current fiscal year. Plus there's $25,869 that's encumbered. So that money is tied to the contract. It can only be spent on the contract. And then the 2021 available, there must have been in that 121 balance outside of the marketing contract. Because 2021 available in my mind is really only the 90. So I think if we have extra in there, Kyle, do you?
Yeah, some of the extra, Karen, is I was budgeting for the projected unspent balance. So I was using the chamber, I think, was expecting to have a certain balance in there. So that's why the number is not exactly 91. It includes a projected balance from the unspent amount from the last contract. Whatever we don't have spent from January would be included in available. It's then on the committee to decide whether or not that unspent amount continues to stay in the available, or if you'd like to turn it back.
So Kyle, you have kind of an estimate there. for
Correct.
Available.
Correct.
So, and that's the first thing you would like us to act on is moving what's available, what has not been spent, the estimated 44,000.
Yeah, but it's gonna be less than,
Gonna be less.
It'll
yeah.
be less than that. Yes, I
it'll
understand.
be something less than that. So I think what I'd like is a motion that's sufficiently vague, just to cover that.
I understand.
Like a
But
month-
where, I guess my concern is, where on this table would I ever see the 43,869?
You
I'm not
don't
going
on
to.
this, you don't on this table. Kyle, could you go to the budget,
I'm looking at the budget. I have that. I understand where that is. And I don't want to drag you through an accounting exercise here.
Yeah.
oh, it's
I just
fine.
want to clarify the two things you want from us. And one is, there is some estimate of around $43,000
It's
that may
not-
be available to carry over.
Yeah, so Joanne, I took a couple numbers that the chamber gave us on estimated spending for January. I took that out of that they gave us a number that they might have as a balance left over. So I took that out of the encumbered because they're not going to spend that amount. So then that leaves you with a balance left over from the last contract, which was about $18,000, I believe. That got added to the 90,000 that was previously added. Hence why that number is about 110,000. So what you're saying, your question as to where would you see that money? It's projected. It's a projection right now. It's not the actual, but
Yep.
it is included in there right now.
That's where it sits.
Yep.
Okay, that's
But
good.
it would be coming out of the 109. So whatever we carry over will be 109 minus the carryover will be what,
Right.
21?
Correct. I probably shouldn't have. I probably complicated this conversation by including a projected amount, but that's what it is. There's a
Okay.
projected
Right, so Kyle,
balance in there.
the delta is something just less than $30,000 then, right?
I believe.
Yeah, Peter, I hate to, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I can see Mary shaking her head. So I think that the chamber, Kyle, if we could go to that other budget spreadsheet, I'd appreciate it. I think Joanne has this one open.
This one.
And if you go to, can you scroll to the bottom, please? Or we are at the bottom. So the chamber has spent, so we have a contract for 270. They've spent 226. There's a balance right now of 43.8. I think that they're going to spend somewhere between 18 and 25. Mary, would you shake your head? Yes or no? Or Jen? 18 to $25,000. That would come out of the 43.8.
Okay.
In which case we'd be looking to carry forward the balance into the next contract.
Peter, can we talk to the chamber about the requested increases, I guess? That's where I'm interested in hearing more about on those. So if they could talk about why now spending 6,000 on SEO and then also what the online audio is.
I think, Peter, I think it's okay. I don't think Ryan was at your meeting where the chamber ran through
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
things. And Ryan, it is in the, they do have a good description in the narrative that was distributed on, I think, it was Friday, if not before.
Yeah, it was the last.
The online audio, I think, is advertising on things like Spotify or iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Shake
I
your
thought
head,
that.
Jen. Look, Jen, I learned. And then what was your other one? The SEO?
Yeah, the SEO. Why
we
start
asked-
spending on that now?
We had the same question, Ryan, and so the chamber is looking to substantially upgrade their website. That's why you see a big jump in that number of itself. It's not that big a number, actually. 13,000 for 2021, up to 16 for 21-22. They indicated that it's kind of good timing to do the SEO at this with the initiation of a new website with the kick. Yeah.
Okay. Then Karen, I'll make a motion to allow them to use the carryover and next year. Is that the motion you need?
Yes, please.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion and there's a second. My question is, should there be a dollar limit on this?
There is the
You-
dollar
if-
limit, what it was allocated in 2021.
If you want to do a dollar limit, I know they're going to spend some money, but the absolute dollar limit would be no more than 43,869.35.
But they can't spend more than that anyways.
Say again?
They can't spend more than that anyways.
Right, that's why it would be an upset limit.
Yeah. So I don't think there needs to be dollar limit because they can't spend more than that. If they spend all 43,869, then they don't get any carryover because it's just a carryover. So it's whatever they spend,
That's right.
which is the better part of the motion.
Right.
Well,
There's
I think we're in the discussion phase, right, Peter? I think
Absolutely.
I think it makes sense to be able to link to a number on a piece of paper,
Mhm.
link that to the motion. So I would suggest that we have the motion specifically say not to exceed that number of 43,869.35.
Joanne, make an amendment to change the motion.
I'd like to amend the motion to include the specific amount of 43,869.35 as an amount not to exceed in the carryover.
Ryan, you made the original memo. Have you made the original motion or Ken, did you make the motion?
Ryan made the original motion. I
Ryan
seconded
did.
it, so
Okay, so Ken, you've got to accept that as a second, and then Ryan, you've got to accept that as an amendment.
No, she's just making a motion as an amend because it's not a motion from me as the motion maker. She's just making a motion to amend my motion.
right.
So she just needs a second and then a vote on the amendment and then we vote on the original motion.
That's
As
correct.
amended or not amended.
Okay, so you don't accept the amendment. Okay, so let's vote on the original motion then, or is there any further
No,
discussion?
you vote on her amendment. If she got a second to the amendment, you vote on the amendment.
Okay, is there a second to Joanne's motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's a motion and there's a second. And any further discussion?
Just a comment, I always like to put a dollar amount on it, whether it's specific or within a couple of thousand, whatever. But I'll second the motion.
Okay, so there's a motion, there's a second. Let's have a vote on Joanne's motion. Jack, you're first.
Aye,
Aye. Ryan,
No.
Ken,
Aye.
Joanne,
Yes.
Peter, yes. So I think that motion carries. Did I miss anybody?
Just to kind of clarify what I was talking about earlier, just to put a button on the discussion or a bow, whatever you want to say.
You got to vote now on the amended motion.
we have to vote on the motion itself, the main motion.
Yeah, let's vote on the main motion. Jack, are you in favor?
Yes,
Ryan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Peter, yes. So the motion carries. So Kyle, now you got the floor again.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was just gonna say, just to talk about what
Kyle,
Joanne was doing.
just a second. Mary raised her hand.
Yeah, can you please put on the record that I abstained from that, please?
From both motions, Mary.
Yes.
Thank you.
I wouldn't say abstain. I mean, Kyle, whatever she needs, but more recused from the conversation altogether.
Yeah, I got it, guys. I know how to write it. Just to clarify that I was projecting a balance of 18,000. So say that there's an unspent balance of 18,000. That's what the available on top of the 90,000 would be. Just to kind of clarify, that's what that number was, Joanne. It was projecting a balance of 18,000.
Right. And by the end of the month, we would know what the real number is anyway, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Excellent. So now we need to vote on the actual budget, the 90,000, whether we're going to do it all at once or twice. Karen, I'm looking at you.
Yes, I need that budget up in front. Titles, your budget with the $184,000 on it.
Hey, Peter,
Yes, sir.
I just, my quick comment to it, if we're opening the floor up for just discussion on whether we're gonna do it once or twice. You know, my quick thought on it, just because times right now are so crazy and nobody can predict what's going to happen here next. And being fiscally conservative, it would certainly be my recommendation, Peter, to vote specifically on the 90 and not the 180 at this point in time.
Well, Karen, I have a question. With possibly a really low allocation in 2022, and we have available funding in 2021, would it make sense to do like a 120 in 2021 and 60 in 2022?
Up to you guys.
Because, I mean, do you foresee this committee coming up with a request? I mean, I know we got the rink coming up at 40,000 or 20,000, sorry. $64,000 more of requests coming in that aren't public improvements between now and the end of the calendar, end of the fiscal year, right? Wouldn't that be essentially what's happening?
Not yet. There's none that I'm aware of, but I don't know. I don't
I'd like to
know everything.
I'd like to foot as much in 2021, guys, as y'all feel comfortable, since we don't know what 2022 allocation is.
I know that there's going to be, I'm assuming there's going to be a request to redo the flagpole in the common. I have no idea what those numbers are going to be, because it's going to take a tree man to trim up some trees and stuff.
It's a
And
physical
That's public
improvement.
improvement, though.
that's physical improvement, correct. And I'm presuming we've got money for that.
Yeah, we got
$104,000.
$104,000, right?
Well, it's not going to be 104,000 to paint the telephone, I mean, the flagpole.
Only if the federal government puts it up would it cost that much.
So Ken, what are you suggesting? 90,000 now, but how do we pay out we already approved their contract, so.
Yeah, but we're only approving it through the end of this fiscal year.
And then come back at the end of this fiscal year.
That's correct. That's what I was thinking, just because I'm just so leery of what's happening in the world right now.
But they don't need, to the end of this fiscal year, they don't even need 90,000, right?
That would carry them through June. They'd need it.
Okay, no, so that's February 1st through basically August 1st, right? That would essentially be 90,000 for that.
No, it would be to the end of June 30th.
End of June
correct?
30th, Ryan. That's fiscal year.
But
Yeah.
the way that
Ryan,
works.
The
is
one point I want to make with a lot of the spending that comes out of this contract is early purchase. So the chamber, for that online radio, online audio advertising, they, need certainty upfront so they can execute the contract. And sometimes the contracts are due, I want to say earlier rather than later, the payment for the contracts.
I actually like Ryan's idea of giving them like 120 and then 60 for the following year. I think that takes some more uncertainty out of their budgeting.
Is there anything wrong with that, Karen, other than less available funds in 2021? It basically goes from like 80,000 available to 60,000 available, right? Of unallocated.
Right.
Anyone care to make a motion one way or the other on this?
I'd like just a point of clarification, Karen, if you could help on this. In your memo to us, you suggested what I'll call a horizontal move. If you put that other chart back up, Kyle, I think you referred to the other one, the unallocated funding. Were you suggesting in your note that the unallocated funding, that 184, that we grab 90,000 of that and reallocate it down below to the marketing and promotion line? Is that how
That's correct, Joanne.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes.
Take 90
that
out of 184 and add it to the marketing and promotion line.
So that's a funding reallocation that we can move money between and among line items whenever we want, right?
That's correct.
With some constraints, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
Your suggestion, having seen all of this, and you certainly understand the numbers better than I do, the first move was to remove 90 from that line item 184 and put it into the line item that now reads 109,700.
Correct.
Okay,
Actually consider that the second or the third move, Joanne.
not the first move?
The first move is already there in
We
the
did that.
in the 2021 allocation. There's 90 there.
Right.
That's not being tapped for the current contract, the 2021. So we have that 90 available for the 21-22 contract.
Okay,
Suggesting that you add whatever doesn't get spent.
yep,
So that would be move number 2. Move
Right.
number 3 would be taking 90 out of unallocated funding in that 184 and moving that down to the 109, adding it on to the 109,700
right.
that's there.
In the column that is, in that same column, in the 2021 available column.
Yes.
So have we,
Oh, am I making sense?
And my
you are, I
suggestion-
understand that part of it. I just don't understand the first two moves.
And
So
Joanne,
the
my suggestion was take a 120 out of it instead of 90, so that because in case we have a lower allocation in 2022, we protected ourselves when we had available funds in 2021.
Right, and I think that's what Karen is suggesting, because those funds that are unallocated are just sitting there with no fingerprints on them.
Right, I'm suggesting going 30,000 higher than she suggested at
Mhm.
2021 availability.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you would move 120 of the 184?
Yeah,
So if you
and
move
then only 60.
120, the way I see it, the chamber,
60 in 2022.
What?
Karen?
Go ahead,
Yes.
Ken.
Karen, you got the floor.
okay, sorry, if you have 120 there, I need a calculator.
I got one. Go.
Okay, so if you take, I'm gonna go back to that first column, Joanne, I'm sorry, because that's money you've already allocated towards this
Yes. Yep,
next contract, okay? So you have $90,000 already budgeted to it. And then, so Ryan's saying take 120 out of the
Right.
184.
You're at 210 right now, Karen.
Yep, and that's, so yep, I got it too. So that's 210. You have some amount that's gonna be carried over. And so that might be, you capped your motion at $18,000?
46,000.
Did we have the 43?
Yeah,
So-
we got the full amount.
So I don't know how to handle that.
I
So,
think we had said there was going to be roughly 23,000 left after January.
Guys, I gotta go.
Okay, so-
Essentially what Karen, what you're asking is, in your memo was 180,000 plus the 90 was 270, plus whatever their carryover was, which is 20 to 25,000. So you were
Yes.
saying 290, 295,000 when their request was 300,000.
that would be correct.
I'm saying, let's go with the same amount of money you were requesting, just pay more out of it out of 2021 than you were asking, and pay less out of it out of 2022.
So Ryan, can you put numbers? And I see Mary and Jen looking. So Mary and Jen, the 300 included spending that might have happened in January, but could happen in February, right? So that's why the number might be less than 300 at the end of the day. If you've already,
They're gonna get really close to 300, and
In
it's
the
gonna be a
first
couple
contract,
$1,000. I
okay?
think they can manage that. Into the scenario you laid out, Karen. So I've got to go, but that's my preference. But y'all do what y'all need to do.
Peter, do you need Ryan for a vote though?
Yeah, I think he goes. So let's make a motion, Ryan. I think we're all on the same page.
So I need to make a motion to carry over the 90,000 that was unspent in 2021, Karen.
Kyle, could you put up the budget so we're all talking about the same numbers?
Yeah, Ryan's got to go, so we got to go quick, and if we need to put this off, we need to put it off.
So Ryan,
The 2021, 2001 allocation, $90,000 marketing and promotion money. Do we need to carry that over?
That's already, no,
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 do
that's
anything.
not allocated. Then I would make a motion to allocate $120,000 out of 2021 unallocated funds to marketing and promotion, and then I would allocate $60,000 out of 2022 availability.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and there's a second.
Just point of clarity, Karen, can we allocate something that we haven't even gotten that allocation yet?
as long as they are talking about the anticipated receipts, I think it's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We do that with CPA money all the time.
And also by the idea that we're also, giving more now. So if they have front loaded things that they know
Right.
that's available, right?
Yep, that's a good point, Ryan.
Okay, there's a motion.
Immediately available.
I'm
And
sorry,
this
Karen.
contract will take us through when?
I'm sorry?
This contract takes us through what date?
That takes us through July or August of 22.
22. Okay.
22.
Okay. That's my motion, Peter, and I've got to go. So let's.
Right, okay. There's a motion on the table and there's a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Jack, you're first.
Yes,
Joanne,
Yes,
Ken,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Peter, yes,
And I think Mrs. Vilbon abstains.
that's correct. All right, Ryan, I know you got to go to your next meeting. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Gotta take care of the kids. Wife's got to go to a doctor's appointment. So,
Yep, no problem.
all right.
You're a
Ryan.
good man.
yeah, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Do
Okay,
you guys need me for anything else? Because I have to go drive someone somewhere.
Karen, we need you always.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. But am I excused?
Bye, Karen.
Right,
Okay, I'm heading your way, Ken. I'm coming to Sandwich.
All right.
Sandwich to Bourne and I don't know where. See ya.
right.
See ya.
Fantastic. Again, Karen, thank you very much. Thank you for the
Okay, you bet.
clarification.
Nice to see everybody.
Kyle as well.
Thanks so much.
Karen,
All right. Next item on the agenda, okay, is skating rink. Mary, skating rink?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. For those of you who don't know, this is Amy Howell. She is the Director of Yarmouth Recreation. Hello.
Hey, Amy.
Nice to meet you all.
hi, Amy.
Thank you for allowing us to present this today. So I'll just go right into it. Do you want to?
Yeah, Kyle, do you think you could bring up the presentation? Share it. And I would just like to, just right off the bat, say why we're presenting this from the Yarmouth Recreation and the Chamber. This request is coming formally from Yarmouth Recreation. And part of the discussion started a few years back when the Chamber was considering implementing a winter carnival that we were hoping to have this February 2021. And with COVID, unfortunately, we're not able to do that. So that's how we got here. And now Amy's going to do the presentation. She's done a phenomenal job doing the research on it. And as I'm sure you saw in the packet, hopefully you saw earlier today, she's been able to secure a significant chunk of funding of $20,000 already for this rink for the community. So thank you.
So Kyle, you can go to the next slide. Perfect, thank you. So as Mary said, so Mary approached me probably about a year ago. Like she said, really with the winter carnival, this kind of being hopefully the cornerstone of the event. And from there, we just kind of started to look into it. It's important to really state that this is not your typical ice rink. So it's not one that you sit outside, fill with water and hope that we get cold enough weather, which on the Cape, you never know how that's going to go. So this is a synthetic ice rink, which means we can use it year round. So we could use it if it's 95 degrees in the middle of August, or we can use it if it's 10 degrees in February. So that is the main reason why we're going after this specific product. And with the synthetic material, it's really low cost in maintenance. So pretty much all you have to do is power wash it. In all of the research, we've reached out to other communities that have these as well. And they've pretty much all stated that it's super easy to use, super easy to maintain. Again, they're pretty much power washing them off. So that is the benefit of having a synthetic rink too. As Kyle just went, as you see, so these are kind of the specifics of the specific one that we have gotten a quote on. We've gone through probably about 4 or 5 different companies, some of them ranging up into the $60,000 range. And Mary was able to find this company that's kind of a wholesale company, and that's why we were able to find it at a significantly lower cost. But as you can see, they're called dovetail panels. And you can see in the picture how the woman is putting it together. So they come in panels like that. So we selected, the quote that we got was, can fit about 40 people on the rink. You can go much bigger, you can go smaller. But so the one that we are looking at and requesting is for about 40 people, which we feel is a manageable size. So, and it's really, really easy to set up. If you're looking at the picture, they estimate it to be about an hour, hour and a half to set up a rink of that size. So all those maintenance supplies, that comes with the quote. So the rink itself, you can see the total cost down the bottom is about $17,000, and that includes delivery. So it's just a phenomenal product that really enables us to use this year round and use it at different events year round. So obviously the #1 event that really kind of set this all off would be the Winter Carnival, which I think, what do you say, February, right?
Yeah, so 2022.
So 2022 at this point. But, being able to do that just benefits the community in so many different ways, So for that specific event, now this is just one event that we would do. You're talking the off season, which is a time when the Cape's a little bit slower. So, being able to throw a carnival just brings, first of all, it brings revenue into the area, brings tourism. It gives the families that are here something to do. Sometimes there's not much to do here in the winter. So, having this would really enable us to just offer, hopefully, a fantastic, event, that time of year, and provide just kind of revenue, an event for kind of the off season that we don't really typically can do.
Yeah, no, and even for Amy, just to use, like, I was even thinking for the kids at Flax Pond, right?
Yep.
During the summer program, those kids could be ice skating.
Yeah.
So what a nice thing to be able to add to the community.
Yeah, I mean, we can use it year round. We can do an event in the summer. As Mary said, talked about, giving the opportunity to kids at camp. I mean, there's just endless possibilities that, we could do with a product like this. You don't even, you can change the shape of it. You can do racing with it. I mean, it's just, again, it's a very versatile product that we think it would really benefit the community.
And Amy wants to do curling, so if anyone's into that.
I'm telling you, it's a new thing. Being able to have this it would make us a trendsetter. We're the only, we'd be the only community with a synthetic ice rink. So obviously there's ice rinks on the Cape, but who's going to be out in the beach parking lot offering skating, in the middle of the summer. So again, it's just something cool and you don't really see around here.
You can go to the next slide, Kyle. Yeah.
So you saw the first slide with the cost of the $17,000, which was basically the rink. So these are the accessories, which total about $23,000. The main thing in the accessories is it comes with 104 skates. So which obviously is you would need for the rink to be able to rent them out. It also comes with sideboards. So this is where it shoots the price up. The sideboards that we were quoted are the ones that you see in this picture. We are not looking towards those ones specifically. We're actually going to be looking towards, what are they called? Steel.
So I think it was on the first slide. Or
Yeah, if
second
you go back to
slide.
the overview
Kyle.
of benefits, Kyle. So we are looking towards that type of siding. It's a lot more, they're easier to move around, they're easier to store, they're not as heavy, they're not as clunky. And we feel, so we just got the other quote for those side rings, sideboards. So we haven't gotten a quote for size from this, but we feel it would be lower than what we've put on here. So we feel that we can actually lower that price a little bit as well for the sideboards. So the beauty is we don't have to get the sideboards, you know, any type of sides like right away. If we really wanted, we could use hay bales, which we've seen communities do. So we do have that flexibility with what we want to use for a side perimeter. So for the accessories, again, that price is so high because mainly the sides and ice skates. So it also comes with kind of edging. It's kind of like a greaser type product that allows, it's just kind of like a maintenance product for the ice to keep it slick and stuff so people can skate on it. Square edge mats for a lace up area. So it really would finish off the rink in itself. So, so if you go to the next slide, Kyle. So as you can see, this is where the total cost is. So it comes to around 40,000, just over. As Mary said in the beginning, we were able to secure $20,000 from Community Visions, which is a local 501c3. So they have agreed to put that towards the cost. So we are requesting up to $20,000 to just finish off that cost. And again, we think that we can get it probably a decent amount lower than the 40,000 for the different sides. We just haven't had time to get quotes for those other products for the sides of the rink.
Yeah.
So,
and we did just hear on Friday that town council has approved for Yarmouth Recreation to own the rink because we wanted to make sure that we could get the insurance, because that's obviously one of the biggest things that the town would need to make sure we had coverage on. And I know Kyle had also mentioned about location. Where would we put this? So because it comes in different size panels that we can put it together, we've talked to businesses like Skull Island, where Lou would allow us to use this parking lot where they'd have the overhead lights. So we could even do skating at night. We could still do it at the parks. We could do it at the beach and be able to do it. Yarmouth Recreation also has the storage for it. So we wouldn't be looking for anything for that. That's covered with the town as well.
Hey, Mary, this is Ken. What's the life expectancy on this product?
I think I saw 12 years.
yeah.
And that's if, you know, making sure you're storing it well, you're keeping the enhancer on it, power washing it. The communities we talked to, one was in North Carolina and South Carolina, and both of them said the two biggest maintenance things were the power washing and the sharpening of the skates.
Okay.
But
Are they special skates that have to be used on the synthetic ice? Or just
no.
my old pair of Bowers that I used to play hockey with could work on it. So
Well, they did suggest they need to be sharpened
Yeah.
well.
They said that's the biggest thing is the sharpen the skates, because it just allows them to go smoother, make it more like real ice, you know. So that is the only negative, as Mary said, that we've found from other communities that have it, is that it was hard for them to sharpen the skates. That was the hardest thing, and so a lot of them just outsourced it to a local company that helped them, a local skating rink, and paid them to skate to sharpen their skates if they were having like a big event. So,
Mary, my last question: who's picking up the insurance cost? Is the chamber picking it up, or is the town?
It's the town.
Okay, so the town would be the underwriter, not the underwriter, but the poles would be taken out by the town?
Correct. And the town would own it.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, the town would own it, through the recreation department. I'm sorry, I might have missed it. How big is it?
So there's 56 separate panels that are 46 inches by 91 inches, and they're a ½ inch thick. And as you can see, they dovetail together, Jack. So we can make it as large as to have 40 people on it, or we could make it as small to have 10 people on it.
Okay, I was just looking for the full dimension of it assembled.
Yeah, and it all depends how we lay it out. It could end up being horizontal, it could be vertical. I mean, it's all depend on how we create it for the space that we're working in, which is great.
Okay, so you're gonna make me do the math, right?
So Jack,
Yeah.
I actually did the math. It's about 1,800 square feet. Depending on
Okey-doke.
whatever the shape is, it's about 1,800 square feet.
Right, and nobody falls through.
Hopefully not.
Correct.
Unless there's a pothole.
I've got a series of questions. What kind of a base does it need to be on?
It needs to be on a hard level surface. So you wouldn't be able to put it like on a field. So, or if you did, you'd have to have a sub base. So you'd have to get like a lot of plywood or something to put underneath it. So typically the best would be some type of pavement or, court, like a basketball court but yeah.
Tennis courts, Amy, are not being used all winter long, so you can set it up there, right?
Exactly. And then you have built-in sides on the tennis court too. So that's a place that we talked about. I mean, you have the fences all around them. So it's kind of perfect,
So this is relatively movable.
Yes.
And you've mentioned lights, skates. I had the same question that Ken had. The skates that come with this thing, they're skates. They're skates. So it's like going to a bowling alley and renting skates.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And we feel getting the skates is a huge part of it because most people don't have their own pair of skates. So, I mean, yes, we could ask people to bring their own and some would, but I think to really make it feasible, we'd have to have those skates there for people to rent and use at the events.
Although I will say, Peter, I hope you don't rent skates at bowling alleys. Bowling alleys are going to.
Maybe that's why I'm not bowling perfect games.
Is that why they weren't allowed back? You were trying to use skates on.
Yeah. Okay. And I had a question on insurance. That's been answered. How hard is this thing? If someone falls, is this as hard as ice?
No, it's not like we've seen it, but it's a ½ inch mat. So I would liken it to falling if you fall on the concrete. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna say someone can't get hurt. That could happen, but it's like almost like just a ½ inch hard mat over concrete. So I mean, it's gonna hurt when you fall regardless. But
and the joints, the dovetail joints, are they covered with anything, or are they exposed?
They're exposed.
Are you talking where
they lock in? Yeah, there's nothing over
so it sits flat. So you have like a mallet that you just put them together and it all sits flat. And that's why it has to be on a flat level surface too. So that way that they're not popping up and creating that tripping hazard.
Right. Well, that's what I was driving at.
Right.
And location, obviously, you need a flat spot. What does flat mean? Does it mean flat, like in level flat? Or like, I mean, if you look at any parking lot, even at Lou's place,
Yep, you can have a dip.
You got dips in it.
Yeah, I think that would have to be something we have to find the right spot to put it. And if we had to, again, you can overcome that with some type of subfloor on it. So,
and some of the other pictures from the other communities that they sent us, I mean, one of them was on a lawn around a tree so that people could skate in circles, and that certainly didn't look level. And they say they did that every year for the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. So I think there's some give with it.
My first blow through is it's a great idea. As long as we've got a place to put it, it would be nice if someone could actually see it. And my guess is your cost estimates may be right, but I think your ultimate cost estimates, if you got to get a level space, is going to be more expensive. It's not going to be as relatively movable as not. Now, tennis courts are usually pretty level, and I've seen those in town, and you know, in other places in town, the recreation areas, they're pretty level. Though the ones at DY are not that level, just off the top of my head.
And if I can also say, when we had looked into renting a rink, and I believe it was approximately this size, because it was going to have be able to have 40 people for capacity.
Yeah.
For 3 days, that rental was $7,000.
So it's dirt cheap to buy it then.
So when I was on the phone with the company asking them about the rental, and the guy told us how expensive it was going to be, that's when I asked him, where do you buy these? And that's where he put us in touch with his wholesaler. So I just want to share with you the difference of if we were to rent one to where if the town purchased one.
And the town has space to store all this stuff?
Yes, we have our building here. It's quite
Right.
large.
Now, you've got your 100 pairs of skis. I think that was the number you quoted.
Mhm.
Excuse me, skates, not skis. I don't want to confuse Kyle. Who's gonna divvy out those? What's it gonna cost to hire somebody to do those? You're gonna have it staffed somehow. You're gonna be cleaning these things and so on and so forth. I'm thinking about other costs that are gonna come along with this.
Yeah, so one of the things that when we were talking with insurance, they had asked if the events would be free. And so for something like this, I think, can you say sometimes maybe when we put it out, it could be free, but other times it's not, because we do have to cover the cost of staffing and maintenance of the ice rink and putting it out, and you have to have staff there the whole time. You can't just throw it out, and let people go and do whatever. So it's going to have costs associated every time we use it, and that's when you are charging to use it. And so that is in our plan to charge when we do have it. Not some crazy fee, but certainly enough to be covering those type of costs.
Ken, I was thinking about organizing a pickup hockey game, but it doesn't sound suitable for hockey.
Looks like it is, Jack.
It is, yeah.
Jack, you're gonna be my starting goalie.
I don't have my pads anymore.
Peter, I've got a couple of questions too.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy, for coming tonight. I did, since I had a little bit of time, a little bit of research. I guess there are other companies who do this. I'm not sure if you looked at Gleiss at all. They happen to be a European firm. They sounded more like the Cadillac in this particular area.
Yeah.
But I learned that you can get different thicknesses. And have you landed on the 1/2 inch because it's based on your discussions with other municipalities saying that's good enough, it's fine, it works well.
That was the way to.
The other piece of it is going towards what Peter was asking, the foundation, if you will, the concrete base or the base of it. The reading and you've already said this has to be pretty flat. And they also talked about some subflooring that would be in addition to that. I think even in the Easy Glide, they mentioned some kind of a liner of some kind that they put down. I'm not sure if that's a foam liner or any kind of a cushioned liner, or is that just protection from the base?
Yeah, it's like a membrane, I think, as they call it. It's actually included in, I think it's the cost of the rink. I think it's in that one. But yeah, so it's just, it's a membrane that basically protects it from the base so that it doesn't get scratched and moisture and whatnot can get between that and whatever you're using as the base of it. So it is included in the cost of it.
Okay. And you mentioned about the no dashboards, but rather that more like the fencing that's
Mhm.
more portable. That makes a lot of sense. For this, I want to get back to a piece of Peter's question too. On the skate rentals, wouldn't we charge for those or no?
Yep, yeah, that would
And
be, that
so-
would definitely be one of
So
them.
therefore, there would have to be staff there while it's open?
Yes, anytime we have it there, we'd have to have it staffed. So, you know, we wouldn't be able to just put the ice rink out and just say, go, you know, go skate as you want, just for liability reasons and just to protect it, too. I mean, it's quite an investment, and unfortunately, not everyone in the community treats stuff the proper way. So if we were putting it out, it would be staffed the whole time that it was there. So again, which is a cost. And so by charging to skate and charging for skate rentals, that will offset those costs.
Yeah. Have you, I know this is just preliminary, but have you put together kind of what I would call a pro forma statement that says, look, these are my potential revenues. These are all of my costs. Since insurance will be, you know, some cost, I would imagine, so that you get a sense about the kind of the bottom line investment and what you might have to charge. I'm sure someone like an Ed Centio is probably going to require that at some point, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so when we were looking at it, I looked at the different rinks around us and what they charged. So then I kind of put together what we could charge, which was in line or hopefully a little bit cheaper. So for instance, and I don't have those numbers specifically in front of me, but for like free skate, so that's where I based it off of. So say Tony Kent was $10 an hour, and I know most of them were around that range, like $8, $10. Maybe $7, but between $7 and $10, the three different rinks on the Cape were between that for free skate. And then ice skate rentals were around $5. And so basically I just took the average of that times, you know, say it was 40 skaters. I think at the time we were looking at a smaller rink too, until we found this wholesale place. So it was a much, we could get more for our money.
So the bottom line here is you're looking for us to make up the difference here between community visions and what you think your estimated initial purchase cost is.
Yes, so that's why we put up to 20, just because we don't have that. Like I said, we just got the sides, the quote for them from the sides, which were those like clunky wall ones, which we just think it's too much for us, too expensive, first of all. Too big, and we've seen different options that we think can lower the cost and just be easier for us to store and move around.
Okay, thank you.
I got two more questions for now. What does each panel weigh?
About 60 pounds.
And there's how many panels again?
56.
56 times 60. Ken, that's up to you to do that. And how much time does it take to set it up?
So when you have it all there, it's about an hour, hour and a half, but you know you're going to add probably another hour, 2 hours just in traveling, bringing them there.
Okay.
So.
Amy, you're getting better, because I'm thinking about, you know, the town time of taking it from X to Y, Y being the location where it's going to be set up, and then obviously you can't just leave it there overnight. You got to take it home.
Yep, absolutely.
And presumably we're going to be doing skating at night, Miss Mary. That's key.
Yep.
Yep, it's a big undertaking.
At prevailing wage.
That's what volunteers are for.
That's right.
It's 1.5 tons, Peter, of panels.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Peter, did I understand your question? You, the installation and then the breakdown, does it have to be broken down?
See, I think if it was at school. I
Only
wasn't
when she
even
moves it.
checking
Yeah,
out.
oh, yeah, oh, okay.
But,
okay.
but the comment that was made is, I believe she said that some people in town don't take care of things as nicely as they should. And so to me, that means that you're gonna put it down somewhere at the end of the event, the end of the night, the end of the late afternoon. You're gonna break it down and put it in a truck and move it from that spot. Unless you're gonna put up machine guns around the thing and protect it over.
I think it depends on where it is. So say we put it at the tennis courts, those are lockable. And so say we're like, okay, we're going to put it at the tennis courts for 3 days for this event. We could lock it up at night. But yeah, I mean, to your point, there are some times where that will have to happen. And I think with that comes, okay, do we want to do the whole thing, or do we want to do half of it, right? So now we can have 20, 25 skaters, so it cuts down on the time. I think that's sometimes the beauty of this is we don't have to put the whole thing up if it's going to be like a quick event, or, where we know that we're going to go do this, it's going to be a couple hours and then we're taking it down.
Okay, yep, good point. Good point. I think it's a great idea. It's just, I think you need to come up with a pro forma of income and expense that makes sense.
Okay.
I'm a banker, so I think of the numbers.
Yeah.
And the unknown knowns.
Well, Amy, I'm an ex-hockey player, so have you talked to Tony King and HYC that you guys are thinking about doing this? I mean, I'm just wondering about blowback from them saying, hey, you're stealing business from us,
No, I mean, can I address that?
Sure.
Yeah, please.
So while we haven't talked to them directly, probably about a year and a half ago, Tom Nicanello, who's the president of the chamber, and I went over and talked to the staff over at Tony Kent. And I would hope that our intention is, at least for the Winter Carnival, that we somehow incorporate them into the Winter Carnival. So where we're engaging them, we want to be partners with them. So we want to make sure that we keep that relationship strong.
Yep.
So we would definitely reach out to them.
And I think too, is because we've talked about it, is for us, the way we would market it. And again, this isn't something that, every single week we're putting up, because as you said, it's a big undertaking anytime we are going to be using it, whether it's half of it or all of it. But is that it's different because it's outside ice skating. And so that's how we would, promote it. And I get that, well, it's taking away, but again, it's, I think it's just
the only thing I see it taken away from is the free skate at HYCC, and I mean I don't anticipate hockey teams wanting to practice on this sheet, so
Yeah, and I don't think we'll be setting it up enough to be like every Friday we're going to do free skate. Again, it's really for events, throughout the year to just kind of bring them up. To the next level, and bring something to the community that's just going to be a little bit different. And again, our intention is not to do it every week because we just don't have the time or staff to do it. So.
And if you do it too often, it's not that exciting, right? If you do it 4 or 6 times a year, that's what makes it like, oh, we got to make sure we go, right?
Yep.
So.
Jack, you got some questions?
Yeah, I know. I just want to say you're a banker, but I was a co-founder and a president one time of Brighton Youth Hockey. And at one time, we had 400 kids in town in the program. And a whole bunch of them were just little kids learning how to skate. And we thought that was a great opportunity for them. Sometimes, a town, its recreation department is supposed to provide some amenities. So if it loses a few bucks, who cares?
I'm not worried about losing a few bucks. but I'm also afraid that, you know, you get into it and they run the pro formas and it turns out that it's going to cost this much money and they go, oh, we'll just leave it in the shed because it's just too damned expensive to run.
I'll buy it secondhand.
Um,
I have my number 3 son who puts a rink out in his backyard, but obviously he has to wait for it to freeze.
yeah,
You get it.
exactly.
He's a hockey player and a figure skater.
Do we have any more questions for Amy? Someone want to make a motion? Do we want to see some more information? Do we want to see some numbers? Because, you know, I'd hate to commit this thing and have it sit in a warehouse somewhere. And Kyle, we still have a quorum, correct? We still have 4 people.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, my feeling is that yes, we should buy it and provide that amenity to the people of the town. And also the fact that it's been successful in other municipalities, so I don't think we have to be afraid. I'll make the motion. I move we approve the proposal.
And do you want to put a dollar figure on that, a maximum of
What was the request?
20?
20,000.
I'll move $40,000 for the request.
Will you accept up to? You accept up to?
Up to, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Did you
there's
say
a-
40, Jack? Was the request for 20 or am I
The
mistaken?
request
Request was 20.
Yeah, request is 20.
Right, yeah, that would be my
Okay.
motion would be to approve the $20,000 for the ice rink for the Yarmouth Recreation Department.
Okay, there's a motion on the table for up to $20,000. Is there a second? Hearing none,
Motion fails.
motion failed.
I would like to make a motion that we've asked a lot of questions tonight where we need some additional information. Amy, I think you might get the sense that the committee is wants this. I just think we need, I know I'll speak for myself. I would like some additional information. And as Peter had suggested, maybe some kind of a expense revenue summary estimate, the best you can give. And then come back to us with a proposal that has a little bit more meat on it. And I foresee that we would look at it objectively and favorably. So I'd like to suggest, I'm not sure we need a motion for it, Peter, but perhaps we invite them to our next meeting with some additional information.
Amy, with that, Carl, when's our next meeting?
That's to be discussed after this, actually.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, Amy, does that give you enough time to put together a pro forma, but without knowing a date, that makes it a
It's
little.
at the earliest, it'll be February 11th, but I was going to suggest we do it the week after.
Is that like two weeks? Is that what you're saying?
That's school vacation week, just so
If
everybody
he's
knows.
saying it's gonna go later.
Yeah, I mean, just if you're talking the week of February 11th, that's a couple weeks. I think that we could probably do that.
What would be the date of the week after, Kyle? Don't worry
The
about the
18th.
bugs getting your neck, just
Yeah,
give us a date.
18th.
What would be the date? Just
Yeah, the
real quick.
18th, February 18th.
February 18th? And would that give you enough time?
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, if you get some numbers ahead of time, it would be really good to get them to Kyle so
You don't wanna come down and take a look at it.
so they can get distributed before the meeting and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I will do that.
Is that
Right.
something acceptable to everybody to come back? Do you want
I was gonna say, Mary, might be a good idea to get some specific municipalities and comparable in size to Yarmouth if possible.
Will do.
Joanne, thank you. What your recommendation is what I was thinking. So don't take the fact that the motion didn't pass that we're negative on the thing, because I think it's a great idea, but we do need some more information.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I will get that for you. We will
Great.
work on that.
Fantastic.
Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
So
very
much
much.
for your
Thank you so
time,
much.
Mary.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye-bye. And Mary, you're sitting next to somebody in the same room. So brave.
That's because we do that every day.
You
Um,
got somebody in mind, Peter?
I'm sorry?
Do you have somebody in mind?
No. Future items, should we discuss these now or wait till later?
Yeah, I don't think you need to discuss them. That's just again, I just kept that on so you guys were aware.
Yep.
I'll probably take that off going forward, but just so you know what we need to discuss. Sounds like we have the next meeting set. It's not going to be February 11th. It'll be February 18th.
Yep.
We have the ice skating rink on there. And then we could also add on reorganization and goals review.
Great.
Kyle, can you also, we need to do our quarterly report then?
Yeah. If you want to put on that meeting, yeah. Yep, we can do a chamber quarterly report as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. And hopefully at that quarterly meeting, you can also give us some future in the hopes that we know where we're sitting a little bit with COVID and vaccines and stuff. Mary, does that sound reasonable or is that just pie in the sky?
That should be doable.
Okay. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to do some committee member updates?
The only thing that went on at the commission, of course, was the big amendment that was offered by a citizens group, and I think it was back, it was sometime a year ago, and we formed the Climate Action Committee, and working with the staff, we came up with 2 new technical bulletins and some amendments to the present regional policy plan. And it was brought before the full commission on the 19th, and we had quite a bit of public participation, and most of the public participation thought that we did a wonderful job, and it passed the full commission, the 2 technical bulletins and the addition to the RPP unanimously. So we were happy about that. And of course, it was another committee that I was on.
Joanne, anything exciting happening in the planning board?
We actually, with Mary's help, this Wednesday, we have a planning board meeting. We haven't had a planning board meeting since we last met, but this Wednesday, we have a workshop with the chamber, some representatives from the chamber. It is this Wednesday, right, Mary?
Yep.
Yeah. And around visioning. So we're wrapping up this month our visioning and survey efforts as the first part of the engagement plan to get everyone's opinion. So I'm looking forward to Wednesday's meeting. Are you going to be there, Mary? You going to be able to join us?
Yeah, it's on my schedule. I did talk to Kathy this morning, and she does not have one person registered.
Oh, really?
Yes,
From the business community?
or Rotary.
I didn't check in with her today.
Yeah.
Okay,
Kyle,
well-
Kyle, do you know if anyone
I
registered
think she got
today?
one. I think she got one person.
It was
So it might have just
probably,
end up being like an interview instead of a, we'll see though.
yeah, I mean, I literally did phone calls today and I can't get anyone to make the commitment.
Yeah.
But Joanne, if I could talk to you, like maybe we can talk tomorrow.
Okay,
I just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight, and I think it would be good for the 2 of us to talk.
okay, Mary, sure. I'll call you tomorrow.
That would be great. Thank you.
Any time better than,
I have a 1 o'clock is all I have tomorrow. So maybe between 1 and 3, I would be tied up.
what about
Mary,
in
is
the
the
morning?
biggest issue you're finding just because it's on a work day? People don't want to, no, it's not that.
No.
Can I call in the morning, Mary?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay,
I'm available anytime after 8.
great.
So what is
All
it? Do
right.
they just not think it's important then, or?
That's what I'm going to talk to Joanne about.
Okay. All right.
So, but it's challenging times for people too. You know, the last thing they can even think about right now is where they're trying to figure out where they're gonna be 2 months from now.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a very difficult time for a government, for business, I'm a trustee at a college, to try to put on a strategic thinking cap, which we're never supposed to take off. We're always supposed to be thinking strategically. That is the last thing that people want to talk about. I'm dealing with it now at my college. You deal with it at government. Everyone's like, what are you talking about?
right.
I need to worry about tomorrow. Why are you asking me about 2 years from now?
Are you a trustee of Four Cs?
No, I'm at Regis College. I'm a trustee.
Okay.
Um,
I was going to say, if you're a trustee at Four Cs, we need dormitories there.
but no one wants to wear, that is a common, understandable criticism, Mary, of lack of interest.
That's just, that is definitely a portion of it.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk to you about some.
Okay, sure. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Mary, do you know if any Yarmouth businesses have applied to the Barstool Fund?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody.
Yeah, they're doing amazing work.
Yeah, I know. I saw someone in Falmouth got it. That's why I asked. So they are giving them they gave it to somebody on Cape Cod. So
Yeah, that was the only one so far on Cape Cod.
yeah.
But they're doing it right, because they're making a substantial commitment to those businesses so that they can survive.
Yep. Yeah, basically the guy, it's Betsy's Diner in Falmouth. It sounded like, he was going to use that money to pay for all this past due bills that he didn't know how he was going to pay otherwise. So yeah,
I actually know one Yarmouth business that applied.
Well, let's hope they get it.
I know.
Any staff updates, Kyle?
My only quick staff update is that we did have our first land disposition committee meeting last week. So we just looked at some simple, small requests that the town has gotten, like these small parcels next to people's properties, basically. But it's baby steps towards hopefully at some point being able to develop an inventory, kind of the stuff that Steve had previously mentioned. Develop sort of an inventory that people can see what's available for town land. And I actually didn't realize there is somewhat of that inventory available right now, which is on the finance department's website. They have a list of the foreclosed properties, the tax foreclosed properties.
Yeah.
But
I thought Ed San Diego put something like that together.
yeah, exactly. Yep, that's exactly what he did. But we're trying to just kind of ramp up our land disposition process. So we did have 2 small parcels that the land disposition committee recommended to dispose of. It's one assessed at 4,000, one's assessed at 10,000. But I mean, it's money for the town for revenue. It's more, the good part is not necessarily the 4,000 or 10,000 to sell. It's the additional tax revenue in perpetuity that we'd get. So, ramping up those efforts, I guess, is my update for that.
Good.
Hey, Kyle, can I ask what happened with the banner? Did it end up getting repaired or?
I actually drove by it the other day and it looked fine. I don't know if somebody unfurled it or something, but I have not. I have called and emailed and I cannot get Plymouth Sign to respond to me.
So will I have that challenge, do you think, next year in my contract with Charlie, or do you think it's going to be easier because I'll be working with him instead of the town?
So the problem is when we submit, I don't know how you submit bills to the town. I don't know if they have to I think you just submit bills and you show that it's paid, right? And that's pretty
Correct.
much it. We have to, if for him, for that project, we had to submit the prevailing wage.
Which he will not do. Yeah.
Which is ridiculous to me because it's one sheet that takes 5 minutes, if that, to fill out. But because of that, I don't think we will have that problem, Mary, because you don't have that requirement that we have, I believe.
Okay. Because I would hate in the middle of the summer, something like that to happen and then we not get it fixed for weeks on end.
Yeah.
That's a concern for me.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Kyle, anything else?
Nope, that's all I can think of at the moment. We got a lot going on, so I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Jack asked for an update on the drive-in site. There hasn't been a determination yet from town council, is my understanding. It sounds like they're getting close to getting a written determination, but they're working with town council on that.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys know we have a new town administrator. It sounds like the board has an executive session tomorrow night to talk about contract negotiations with them. So, he hasn't obviously signed a contract or anything yet.
Kyle, we had also talked about right now what the town can be doing for, especially since we're still in COVID. Did you ever talk to Linda about the permitting or the?
Linda is retired, actually. I started emailing her that very question and found out that she was retired from her automatic response.
Linda retired?
Linda Hill, yeah.
Are you
Really?
kidding?
Oh,
She now works part-time. She now works part-time for the town, but she's no longer the licensing clerk. So I do not believe that there's any relief on licensing stuff. I don't. I think we would have heard about that at some point. That was news to me when you mentioned it.
I don't know, because businesses are telling me about it. So I don't know. Maybe there's a misunderstanding that we need to find some clarity then.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's no fee for like the outdoor dining extension and stuff like that, but I don't think that's what they're talking to you about. So I don't really know.
All right. And then also, I know Mary Wagon is going in front of the select board tomorrow night because I know she's got 110,000 in grants left for businesses.
Yeah.
And I did put her in touch with one business last week, but boy, if we can get that 100,000 into people's hands, it's the businesses qualifying for it is the challenge.
Yeah, I know. We've been trying to do it since the pandemic started. That's why there's still 110,000. And it seems like the process just gets stuck once Mary lets them know the requirements attached to it, and then they're no longer interested in going through the money. I'm a little frustrated because I think some people just don't want to, like, it is a little overwhelming at first seeing like all the requirements, but you just need to sit down and get through it. But
they're
Mary would
putting
be
all
happy to
those,
help people with that.
they're putting all those numbers together for their PPP loans and everything else. So I don't understand.
Well, the other thing is you can't duplicate benefits. So if you're getting a PPE loan, then we can't give them payroll assistance. So yeah, there's just a whole lot of red tape surrounding that money, which is the reason why it hasn't been spent. Unfortunately, it's very frustrating for me as well. But
Right, the current round of PPP loans also is much abbreviated as far as the SBA is concerned, and it's really headed towards much smaller businesses than round one. So,
something else to mention, Mary, I actually wanted to mention this to you specifically, is that we were contacted by Business View magazine recently. They're interested in producing a feature on Yarmouth about kind of all the economic and housing development activities we've done in recent years. And they actually are going to give us like full editorial control and everything. So it's basically going to end up being a nice little marketing thing for the town, hopefully at the end of the day. I don't know if you're familiar with Business View magazine at all, Mary.
Yep. Yep.
But so far they've been nice to work with. It looks like they did stuff on like Nantucket and whatnot. We contacted them. They sounded like they had a good experience with them. So that should be a nice little marketing project that we're working on.
Yeah, if you put them in touch with us if you want.
All right, will do. Thanks. Yeah.
Yep.
Expedition Blue, our blue economy installation. I'm just going through my email now, just getting some other ideas. Our blue economy installation at Smuggler's Beach. I believe the idea is to start installing that like in April. I think I told you about this previously. It's a kind of a Cape Cod Chamber project that's regional for all the different blue economy sites around Cape Cod. Ours is at Smuggler's Beach. It's going to highlight the present and future blue economy activities like fishing and shell fishing in that area. But what I think is really cool is the past blue economy activities at that area, like smuggling in rum and stuff like that. Hence the name for the. So I will have a cool installation there. I'll make sure you guys are apprised of that. And then broadband, we are working with Open Cape to try to spend our community compact IT grant, which I believe Dan kind of mentioned to you guys last time. We have $100,000. We're trying to get key municipal buildings, which Mary's building is one of, wired to the broadband. And that would kind of set the stage for future expansion of the network. But it would also just be very valuable to have our municipal buildings hooked up into, because I don't know, Mary, don't you kind of have some internet problems at your facility?
Yeah.
So hopefully this would solve that. So yeah, working on that as well.
Kyle,
Yep.
some of our members their membership has expired. Has selectmen met and re-upped everybody?
I don't know if I got confirmation that they're re-up, but yeah, I think Steve was recently up for a reappointment. He did
Yes, Steve
indicate he
was up.
wanted to be reappointed, and I believe he was. I'll double check on that.
And also soon our open meeting stuff. is
Oh,
gonna come out.
yes, yes.
So we're gonna
The
do
town
that.
clerk did mention that she was gonna get in contact with everybody, start of the year, because I believe I contacted her in December about that. So I'll follow up with her on that and see when she's gonna be contacting everybody. It's basically, I think she's just gonna send out a link to everybody and say, here are the two, I think there's two things you need to do, like a conflict of interest and something else, ethics training or something like that. So keep an eye out for that email.
Minutes for review from January 14th, 2021. Anyone care to make a motion to accept those minutes as written?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, there was a motion, I think by Mary.
Oh, Joanne,
Me.
Oh, Joanne made it, excuse me. And then a second. Ken, did you make a second or was you?
Jack did.
Jack made the second, okay. Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor? Jack,
Yes,
Ken,
Yes.
Joanne,
Yes.
Mary,
yes.
Peter, yes. So that motion carries. And I can't read the last item on the agenda.
I can.
Mary can read it. Is there a second?
Second.
Good meeting, and please tell Amy that we're not negative.
Yeah.
I think she got that, but I will. Yeah.
No, and I want to thank you guys an awful lot for tonight supporting the chamber and supporting the idea of a rink in town. It's something that we've been thinking about for years. So the possibility for us to be able to do this is really exciting. That, it might actually work out. So we will get you everything that you've requested and be prepared on the 18th.
Thank you for all you do in Yarmouth, for Yarmouth, Mary.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mary.
Right.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask anybody if they had any new business, even though we've just said we're adjourned. So if there's anything that's missed, please get in touch with Kyle. Maybe we can get it on the agenda and stuff. All right. Fantastic. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.
Stay safe, and part of the Patriots are going to be in the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks, so that's exciting.
just Brady.
And the big tall guy, what's his number 87?
Gronkowski.
Yeah, Gronkowski. Hey, good. Have a good evening. Thank you, guys.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Joanne, I'll talk to you in the morning.
I'll give you a call, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you.